Prevention.
Yes, Your Honor. We're here today for sentencing in the matter of the State of Ohio versus Daniel B. Trotter, case number 24 CR 1376. Defendant is present today in open court with his attorney, Mr. Jim Matthews. At the last proceeding, which was held on April 16th of this year, defendant pled guilty to 2 counts. One count being failure to comply with the order or signal of a police officer, a felony 3 under 2921.331B, and the other count being obstructing official business, a felony 5 under 2921.31. The defendant at the time stipulated that his actions caused a substantial risk of serious physical harm to persons. Your Honor accepted the defendant's plea and ordered that the defendant undergo evaluations, particularly a PSR, a drug and alcohol evaluation, and Your Honor also ordered a victim impact statement. We have read the reports. We are ready for sentencing. We should note that there had been a prior agreement on record that we would be recommending CCS pending any material, pending no material differences in a PSR. We will not be recommending CCS today. We would add that the defendant has 4 days of jail time served, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Matthews.
Thank you, Your Honor. We are requesting community control for Mr. Trotter. In the pre-sentence report, he was very open about his behavior that evening, very remorseful about his behavior that evening. Since that incident, he has gotten off of the fentanyl. He has, in February, begun working with Guidestone and has been a part of their IOP program. He's set to graduate in July. He is working. Also through Guidestone, he indicates that he has a peer support individual that he speaks with almost on a daily basis, and is very committed, Your Honor, to putting his past behind him. We can of course understand that the court would have some concerns, obviously with his prior record, with his prior, I guess we'll call them failures at treatment, but Mr. Trotter is very committed to bettering himself, to advancing forward, and would ask that the court fashion a sentence that would allow him to continue working with Ohio Guidestone, complete that program, and continue his employment, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Trotter. What do you want to tell me before I sentence you?
Your Honor, I'd like to say I'm sorry and I apologize for my actions. It was completely, I don't know, I'd say just unwarranted to do what I did. It was not my finest hour, that's for sure. I don't know, I'm just really sorry for those actions, especially the officer involved. I'd like to apologize to that man if I could. But currently I'm doing the best right now with my treatment and recovery. Probably the best I've been in the last 20 years of my life. I'm also involved in my methadone clinic, who have counseling through them as well. I do go to AA when I can make it. I don't have a vehicle or a license, so it makes it a little tough.
Why not?
But
Why don't you have a license?
It's been suspended prior to this.
For what?
It was an OVI in 2017.
Okay, when are you going to get your license?
Well, they just passed a law where the court costs and everything would, be eliminated from that process. So my reinstatement fee is actually $900. So I have to start paying that off. I can get that as soon as that's paid. And also, I'm doing everything I can. There was a lot of stuff that has happened in this last 7 months. Outside of the court hearing and everything, my family had a fire at the house. Everybody's okay with that. I don't know, I just figure that, I don't know, my family needs me right now, especially what we're going through on top of that. And my mom also asked, she wanted me to ask you to not send her son back, who she just recently got back after the last 20 years.
What does that mean?
she's finally seen her son again, who she's missed for the last 20 years because of my drug use.
Okay, so how'd you get involved in all this stuff for the last 20 years?
When I was 18, me and my friend in high school, we actually were friends with another girl whose older brother introduced us to heroin.
I mean, what do you mean introduced you to heroin?
He
How'd
said,
that
he
happen?
was like, word for word, he said, you know, you guys want to try this stuff? And I said, I don't want to because I thought you could shoot it. And he said, oh, you can just snort it, and it's just like a Percocet or a Vicodin. So I, you know, snorted a line, and
Had you been doing Percocets or Vicodin before that?
I tried one here and there, so I knew what the feeling was.
Okay, so why didn't you keep doing the Percocets or Vicodin? Or did you?
No, I didn't actually. I just,
Okay.
it wasn't something that I was, you know.
All right, so then when it came time for the heroin, why were you interested in what was like Percocet or Vicodin?
Whatever, it didn't initially hit me, it was just the feeling I liked, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I liked the feeling, and I kept going back to it, and eventually became a daily thing. And then the sickness started, and I didn't know, I wasn't educated on what addiction was back then. I didn't know about, you know, heroin addiction and withdrawals and detoxing and yeah, all that stuff I was pretty naive to as an 18-year-old kid.
Okay, so what happened this night of this offense?
Well, I was using.
What were you using?
I had cocaine in my system and fentanyl. Prior to this, I abused methamphetamines, which messed me up for a while. This was back when I was 27. I put that away after I had some mental issues because of that, mainly psychosis.
Because of the meth?
Yes. And when I used the cocaine, it put me into a psychosis state where I was told that my significant other was somewhere with another guy, which was at this hotel that night. And I fully believed it. It wasn't true.
Where were you living at the time?
Independence, Ohio.
How did you know where the Skylight Inn was?
I looked it up on Google. And that's what the name of the place was, that this person that told me about it, they thought it was funny to mess with me while I was under the influence, because they knew that I have these mental issues.
Who did that?
His name was Vince
Vince who?
Busa.
Why did he do that?
Couldn't tell you.
Was he a buddy of yours or something?
I mean, acquaintance through
Okay.
drugs.
All right, so when you got there, what happened?
Basically, I pulled up, a double parked, and I went right to the door and started kicking the door and trying to get in. And I believe someone called the police on both of those actions. And when the police officer arrived, all he was trying to do was calm me down, because I watched the video. And yeah, he was just trying to calm me down and get me to relax, and I wasn't having it. I was not I was not thinking clearly. And
So you had you taken the coke and the fentanyl before you left Independence?
yeah, I was.
How were you able to drive?
I don't know. Just
Okay.
yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know. But yeah, the confrontation with him started, and he was just worried about my tags, not me getting back in the vehicle and leaving again, because you know the tags were expired. I wasn't having it. I sat back in the car, and he was trying to get me out of the vehicle, and I also believed I had a warrant at the time, which I didn't. And I got out of the car, and I shoved him in the shoulders. I slipped and fell. I believe at that point he said taser, what I can remember, and I got back in the car, and I started driving at high speeds to the freeway, to 271.
How fast?
At least 100 miles an hour when I was on the
120?
freeway. Yeah.
120, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you got on Route 90,
Yeah, to 271.
271 to 480? And when did they stop chasing you?
I believe somewhere around like Harvard, Lee area, I think,
Okay. And why'd they stop chasing you?
because I believe it was too dangerous, I'm going to say.
Right. You stopped at some point, right, on 271?
Correct.
And
I
did
was-
what?
I was questioning whether or not I should, like, what I was doing at the time.
Okay.
And then I didn't remember I did this, but then, yeah, I threw my hands out the window and,
Gave him the finger, right?
yeah, continued to go.
And then sped off.
Yeah.
Right. And when did you get caught?
I believe maybe within a week, I was homeless walking the street and I got hit by a car while I was walking the street.
Okay. All right. So what's this Guidestone thing?
It's IOP, intensive outpatient treatment.
How'd you get to Guidestone? How'd you find that?
I was actually involved with them in 2023 for psychiatry, but ultimately the IOP was referred to me by my counselor through methadone, the methadone clinic, CMS.
Wait a minute. 23, you're at Guidestone for mental health,
But I think
right?
it was 23 or 22, one of them.
Court ordered or on your own?
On my own,
Okay? And then, and it was strictly for mental health?
yes.
All right, so then you're with them now for the substance abuse too?
Yes, and mental health.
Okay. So how did they start treating you for the substance?
Well, I did my assessment first, and then they placed me into 3 groups a week,
All
3
right,
hours.
but
a
what I'm interested in, you said somehow the methadone clinic was involved in this.
I'm sorry. Yeah, my counselor at the methadone clinic, who I see monthly, referred me to them and said it would be a good idea for me to, get into this. And this was, before this incident happened in November. And I was looking into doing that prior to all of this happening, and I continued with it once I was released from jail.
All right, so did you start
Yes,
the substance abuse aspect before this thing happened? Before this fleeing and looting?
yeah, I was trying to, but then everything took place, yes.
All right. So what's with the methadone clinic?
I've been involved with it since 2021. It's given me the longest sobriety I had.
And what do you do with that clinic?
We started, it was daily, you go in daily. And then because of my progression and being clean, I now am about to receive bi-weekly take-homes, which means I get my medication for 2 weeks and then I come in.
So you still have to take it every day?
Yes.
Okay. What does that do for you?
It completely relieves any type of craving or thought or want to use at all, to be
When's the
honest
last
with
time you went a day without using it?
What do you mean by that?
Did you ever skip a day? Since you started taking it in 21, have you skipped any days taking that in 4 years?
Maybe, I think, once or twice when I started using, after, I started using, because I didn't really see the point in taking it, but I didn't want to leave the methadone clinic, because
When's the last time you used any other substance?
November 15th, 2024.
Okay, have you taken it every day since November 16th of 2024?
Since I got out in December 5th, yes, because I
Okay.
wasn't able to get it when I was in jail.
So what effect did that have on you when you couldn't get it when you were in jail?
I was pretty sick and going through withdrawals the whole time I was in jail, actually. And when I got out, I didn't trust. I was going to try to not take the methadone when I got out of jail, when I was released on bond, and I didn't trust how I felt and myself, so I immediately went back to the methadone clinic and talked to my counselor and doctor. Then they started me on a smaller dose to get me back up to where I was originally.
All right, so you see a doctor there?
Yes.
How often?
If I can see him whenever, but I at least see him every 3 months.
What's the purpose of that meeting?
Checking it and on our health, see how the methadone's working for us. If you have any other health concerns, just doing like blood pressure, a physical kind of thing.
What about the counselor?
Counselor, it's about relapse prevention, setting treatment plan goals, talking about anything else that's going on in my life, like the court stuff and any type of legal issues, or my son, the stuff going on with my kid, like stuff like that, you know, family issues, support.
How long is it yours or their expectation that you're going to continue on methadone?
Honestly, it's my expectation, yes.
What is your expectation?
Oh, well, at this point, I think that it's working and it's helping, and I can go down and wean off of it whenever I choose to. But right now, I don't think that would be a good idea.
Why not?
I mean, maybe slowly in the future, like within the next year.
What does the doctor say about that?
They basically they work with us and what, you know, as an individual client, and what, you know, they want as a person, or we want as, you know, on an individual basis. They don't push it either way.
All right. So tell me about the Guidestone treatment.
We go, it's 3 times a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I go from 4 to 7. We have a facilitator and we talk. We have a group of, I'd say, about 6 of us. We talk about all different types of stuff. We watch some videos about addiction, TED Talks occasionally, but mostly it's about coping mechanisms, PTSD and trauma, cognitive behavioral therapy. Yeah.
What? Explain to me cognitive behavioral therapy.
Helping the way we think and turning it into positive actions instead of negative actions, our thoughts into our behaviors.
Where does your son live?
He lives with his mother in Brooklyn Heights.
How old is he?
He's 10.
And where does he go to school?
Brooklyn Heights elementary or middle school.
What grade is he in?
4th.
All right. How much contact do you have with him?
Actually, I see him every other weekend, and he stays with us for the weekend.
What about when all this other nonsense was going on last fall?
Actually, he was. We just went to juvenile court this past year to get visitation rights because his mother was taking him in and out of our life. There was no consistency with it, so.
Okay, so you have an order out of Cuyahoga County?
Yes.
When did you start going to Guidestone? 21, you said?
Yeah, for psychiatry.
Okay. And then after you went there, how soon was it before you started using again?
I'd say a year, over a year.
Okay. Why did you start using again?
It was prior. My son was taken out of my life again.
Okay.
And that's been one of the basis of the things. And it wasn't the smartest choice. I'm going to agree with that. To relapse over it, it wasn't. It didn't make anything better. And yeah, I just.
Well, has it ever made anything any better?
No, it hasn't.
So you started using again, and then it continued using until this November incident?
Correct.
Okay. Where were you getting this stuff?
West side of Cleveland, east side of Cleveland. Yeah.
How did you know where to get it?
Well, being involved with it for, you know, in and out of it for a while, it was kind of more easy. A lot of the times I've pulled up at gas stations, places, and people ask me, you know, if you want to try something or you want to sample, or it's pretty wild sometimes.
Right, and then you had people you would call, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and why did you have these people's numbers?
Oh, I didn't have anybody's numbers.
You didn't? And
No.
how'd you know where to find them? You just,
I contacted through acquaintances, you know, that I knew from the past.
okay. So, you've got a 20-year history of this nonsense, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, what's to say it doesn't start again? I mean, you're somewhat dangerous, aren't you?
I mean, yeah, I would agree so with what just happened, the case we're here on.
Right, and you, according to what Mr. Matthews told me before we came in, and kind of what you said here, is that you were kind of shocked by your behavior, right? Right?
Correct.
So you have no control over your behavior when you're doing this stuff, right?
Yes.
Okay. Where are you working?
PICS inventory specialist. We go into like Heinen's and Sephora, Giant Eagles to do inventory on their items.
How long have you been working there?
I just got this like 2 weeks ago. And I do have another job that I got as well for event. It's allied event staffing to work for like Cleveland Art Guardians games and concerts, doing tickets like at the door or wanding people.
What did you do before these jobs?
I still do. I clean houses, but I'm in the process of trying to get an LLC for that and start my own thing. I still have three clients of my own that I
All right. At one point, you were working for Serenity Cleaning?
yeah, and that's how I got into the cleaning.
Okay. You don't work there anymore, right?
Correct.
All right. You got this other, and I don't want to know, I don't want you talking about the facts of it, but you got this other case in Cuyahoga that occurred like 4 days before this case in Lake County, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All right. And so what's the next date set for that case?
June 24th, pre-trial.
What's it set for? What type of hearing is it for?
Pre-trial.
Pre-trial?
Yes.
Okay. Does your son know where you're at today?
No, he does not.
Does his mother know where you're at today?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Well, why not?
Well, communication between me and her isn't really very much.
When
so
are you supposed to have him again?
This weekend.
Okay. I mean, don't you think it's important for her to know that?
Honestly, I don't at this point, because anything that's been going on between us it's not great. I mean, it might not sound good for me, but her behavior is the reason why we had to get the order to be able to see him.
Or your behavior, quite frankly, right? I mean, you haven't been the best behaved adult in the last 10 years, have you?
Well, she took him from my family too. It's
Yeah,
not
well,
just me. You know.
Okay, but you're
I
blameless in all
agree.
this?
I agree, though.
Okay. As part of your treatment, do you go to any AA or NA meetings?
I've tried to make a couple AA meetings when I can.
What does that mean?
I have a lot going on, and as far as driving, it's hard. I don't have a vehicle or a car or a license.
Got a bus schedule or anything?
I mean, yeah, I do, yeah.
Okay.
I am still in contact with one of my old sponsors daily as well. I could probably ask
Why
him.
are they an old sponsor and not a current sponsor?
Because it was, I don't know, like 10 years ago, I met him, and we talk, you know, he sends me text messages every day. I reply to him, and we talk occasionally. He knows what's going on with me here, and my point was I could ask him to.
Okay, see, you gotta do this stuff. Okay, you can't talk about doing it, you can't think about doing it, you can't plan on doing it, okay? Because once you do that, you know, tomorrow you'll be thinking about it, planning about it, maybe gonna do it, and then the next day, the same thing, okay? Because this shit's been going on for 20 years, and you're stuck in the hole. Now, who's here with you today?
My father and my girlfriend, Kristen.
Okay, what are they doing here?
Support.
Okay. All right, so do you rely on them?
I mean, yeah,
Okay.
I do.
Well, but you've been pretty unreliable the last 20 years, right?
Agreed.
Okay, so why do they rely on you? Why do you rely on them?
I rely on them because they are a great source of support and love, and they see who I am regardless of what things may have happened or I have done in the past.
Okay, but how long should they put up with this stuff that you've been doing for 20 years?
I mean, I personally, I don't think they should. They shouldn't have. And, but at the same time, it's their choice, you know, and I am grateful that they are still in my life. And
Okay. And how long has your girlfriend been in your life?
a little over 5 years.
Okay. Is there a reason she didn't kick you in the ass in November of 24?
Well, I was in jail, so.
Yeah, I know. When you got out of jail.
No.
Right.
She definitely wanted to. I got a mouthful, that's for sure.
Okay. And you mentioned that your mother relies on you? Did you say that earlier?
Yeah, for what's going on with the fire and everything, they need, you know, we all need to support each other.
Okay.
With everything that's going on.
All right. So how do you support your mother and your father if you're spending your time with the fentanyl and the cocaine?
So I can't.
Right. And you couldn't, I mean, a year ago you couldn't either, right? I mean, nobody could rely on you a year ago,
Yeah.
3 years ago, 4 years ago, right? Now, didn't you go to prison at one point in Cuyahoga County?
Yes.
Why?
2015.
Why?
I violated at that time.
Why?
I could not stop using.
Okay. What did you do to stop using?
I did. I don't really, it was just back and forth, really, for a while then, honestly. There was no stopping. You know,
Why not?
I wasn't ready at that time.
What do you mean you weren't ready? That always baffles me when somebody says they're not ready.
It just, I don't believe it was my time to go through what, I still had to deal with whatever was going on in life at that time for me.
Which was what?
Well, I don't know. There was a lot going on at that point in my life. My son was just being born. I wasn't sure if I was going to be a father, a good father or not, because I was using.
Well, I mean, you knew the answer to that,
Yeah,
right? You were going to be a lousy father if you were using.
I was just in a cycle of, you know, of hell.
Well, why didn't you get out of the cycle? What did you do to try to get out of the cycle?
Stopped using. I tried multiple times, go to detox. Yeah.
You've been to a number of treatment facilities over the years, right? Upwards of 10?
Correct.
Okay, some of them multiple times, right?
Yes.
And they haven't worked, right? Right?
Yes.
So why is it going to work this time?
I believe that where I'm at right now, coupled with the methadone, it's been working and it's going to work for me. I just know it. I'm doing so much, and I believe that if I was going to relapse, it would have happened by now.
Okay, that's a bad thought. That's a bad, for somebody who hasn't used for 6 months, that's a bad statement to make, okay? Because there's been guys in here that haven't used for years and years and years that started using again. So the minute you think that you've gotten to the point where you're not going to use again, you're in trouble. This gets to my point of the AA stuff or the NA stuff and the sponsor that you're going to do, okay? If you don't get off your ass and do it, you're not going to do it, okay? And then you'll be right back where you were. Your history proves that, okay? Because you go through treatment, some of it you complete, most of it you don't, but what does it mean if you complete it if you don't follow through? Doesn't mean, that means you're not successful. You got to make up your mind whether you're going to be successful or not. Is there anything else you want to tell me?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Devanche?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. It's apparent to the state that the defendant is not a prime candidate for probation, Your Honor. Your Honor has already alluded to many of the reasons for that. I believe they should be stressed a little bit more, and I would like to add a few more things. Your Honor, I believe, alluded to a charge in Cuyahoga County, which I believe to be a burglary charge. That's outstanding. I don't know the status of that, but it is out there. Defendant has a prior FTC conviction in 2020. Yes, that was a misdemeanor. However, it shows a continuing recalcitrance. What the defendant, speaking of recalcitrance, the defendant has a string of PVs. In fact, he went to prison, as he noted, after a string of PVs after being given several chances on an underlying F5 drug case. As far as this case is concerned, the defendant admits to shoving Officer Brown, who was pushed backwards and almost hit the ground. He did not, thankfully, but at that point, that's when the defendant actually jumped in his car and led two police departments on a dangerous, chaotic chase. The defendant has already stipulated that his actions caused a substantial risk of serious physical harm to persons. He has in open court today also admitted to an OVI, that is that he was on crack and fentanyl, which is perhaps why he does not remember the egregious nature of his violations that day. This chase spanned some 20 miles, Your Honor, over 12 minutes, and that's actually a long time given that the defendant reached and maintained speeds of some 120 miles per hour. During which time, during this, the chase, he engaged in reckless driving and maneuvering. Before he got on the freeway, as he was still on surface streets, he accelerated around an intersection, making a right turn, and actually veering into the oncoming lane. Thank goodness there was no traffic there, but he was able to right himself, and at that point started sort of juking his car around, trying to outmaneuver police behind him, trying to fake him out as to where he was going, when he finally jets off onto the highway and begins to reach really, really high speeds. At one point, as he's entering the freeway, at that point, he cuts off an oncoming driver who has to hit their brakes pretty sharply, and then he proceeds to reach 120 miles per hour. At some point at the beginning of this chase, he's tossing small objects out of the window. We don't know what that was, but he did that. He drives in the breakdown lane at another point. At another point, Your Honor, I think this was brought up already, he slammed on his brakes in the middle of the freeway for some unknown reason, and of course officers have to adjust to that dangerous situation. At that point, I believe that's when the defendant actually stuck his middle finger out at police officers who were chasing him. At that point, he cuts across a median, almost hitting signs, driving through grass, and actually cutting off another officer who was driving in that same lane at that time. After that, they reach speeds again of 120 miles per hour. By that time, it's raining harder, and the police decide to terminate the pursuit for fear of any consequences to human life. For all these reasons, he's not a good candidate for CCS. He does have a long history of treatment. He's been given many, many chances. At the minimum, we would suggest that if the defendant is not amenable to neocap, then prison is the answer, Your Honor. Thank you.
Matthew, anything further?
No, Your Honor.
All right, I've reviewed the pre-sentence report and the drug and alcohol evaluation. And I've considered all the provisions in 29, 29, 11, 12, and 13. I don't know what's going to happen in Cuyahoga. This notion that it's just going to get dismissed doesn't seem realistic to me based on what I know, but that's up to them and that's up to you. I can't predict what they're going to do. In this case, I'm going to place you on community control for 5 years. I'm going to sentence you to 4 days in jail with credit for 4. You're to have no drugs or alcohol and you'll be screened. You're going to continue with the dual diagnosis treatment at Ohio Guidestone and follow all the recommendations. You're going to obtain and maintain full employment. You're to go to only one doctor, one dentist, and one pharmacy for prescription medication. Take your medication as prescribed, sign releases for probation. You're gonna get a valid driver's license, you're gonna attend at least 4 AA or NA meetings a week and get a sponsor. And that doesn't mean tomorrow. You're gonna pay the costs and supervision fees. Ms. Warren, any other terms?
Your Honor, if you would like to consider a decision point.
All right, you're going to complete the decision point program through the probation department and follow all recommendations. You understand all the terms?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any question about any of the terms?
No, Your Honor.
If you don't comply with the terms, the state will file a motion to terminate your community control, and if I find you violated, then you face 48 months in prison. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And then if that happens, when you get out, you'll be on post-release control for at least a year, up to 3 years under the parole authority with conditions if you violate the conditions. Parole authority could send you back to prison for up to 9 months for each violation, up to 1/2 of my sentence. If your violation is a new felony, then you could get an additional consecutive prison sentence for that violation, the maximum of which would be the greater of 12 months of the time left under post-release control. I'm also going to suspend your driver's license for 3 years, effective November 12th, 2024. So when you you have to get a valid driver's license. That's one of your conditions. And there's no reason to wait to do that, even though you can't get it until this suspension is up. Clear everything else up
Okay.
as soon as you can, so that when your 3 years is up, you can get a license. Okay? The remaining charge is dismissed. Now, like I said, I don't know what's going to happen in Cuyahoga. That may impact what happens here eventually. Now, Mr. Tavanche's recommendation of a prison sentence was a fair recommendation based on your past and based on your activity here. Because you put a lot of people in danger, including yourself, but most notably others. And you don't have any right to do that.
No.
So, I'm going out on a limb here. Because if you engage in this stupidity again, then you're going to deal with those consequences, and I'm going to be on the hook somewhat for that too. Now, I can't do a thing to make you comply with these conditions. Mr. Matthews can't, your father can't, your girlfriend can't, your mother can't, your buddy who made that call on November 12th can't, nobody can. So you're either going to do it or you're not going to do it, okay? And this nonsense about I'm not ready yet is just that. So if you're ready, I hope you're ready, you better get ready if you're not ready, okay? Because you're in a 20-year downward spiral. It's either going to stop or it's going to continue. And that's completely on you. So you're out of excuses. You're out of bad situations happening in life that cause you to go back to your old ways. Because believe it or not, as you go through life, bad things are going to happen. And you're going to have to deal with it. And you better start learning how to do it now. Anything else, Mr. Devanche?
Just a point of clarity, Your Honor. The driver's license suspension to begin on the date of the infraction, I believe, November 12th, 24, and that would be only for 3 years?
3 years.
Thank you.
Anything else, Mr. Matthews?
No, Your Honor, thank you.